Hi, my name's Anita Nichols and I'm an early intervention teacher. I'm also the mum of a boy with autistic spectrum disorder. So in this session I'd like to talk about how to identify an autism spectrum disorder. Well, autism spectrum affects one person in every 100, so that means there's about 40,000 New Zealanders with ASD. Some people will have a lifelong difficulty while others will be less affected and they wouldn't stand out in the crowd. Most children grow and develop to reach a number of important milestones in their development as they grow older, and these milestones are most noticeable between the ages of 18 months and 3 years. It includes communication development, so verbal and non-verbal, social development, so that's play and interacting with others, and cognitive development, or thinking. Many children have some delays in one or more of these areas, but those who have a delay or difficulty in all three areas could have autism spectrum disorder. We're going to look at each of these three areas in turn. People with ASD can have a wide range of communication differences. For example, some may have no verbal language or a lot of difficulty in understanding others. They may find it really difficult to communicate with others, so a verbal child who uses words but doesn't use those words to request or to share an experience with someone else. Many children have a lot of difficulty following verbal instructions age appropriately. They may use language in unusual ways. They may often repeat or echo phrases that they've heard, perhaps on a TV show or a movie. They may seem to have very good verbal language, but perhaps they've got a different accent from others in their family, perhaps an American accent that's really quite distinct. Or they may have very overly formal or academic language. Some children will have difficulty noticing and responding to facial expressions, such as frowning or smiling, or body language, such as gestures like pointing. People with ASD can stand out in social situations. They might prefer solitary activity or groups with fewer people. Children might play with toys in very unusual ways, very repetitively and inflexibly, perhaps lining up their favourite objects rather than playing a pretend game with others, or becoming really upset by changes to their fixed play routine. When another child enters their play, the child becomes very upset with the changes that child makes to their play. Adults might have a lot of difficulty with conversation or appear rude or unable to understand social rules. Many people with ASD can be very stressed without structure and predictability. They might make their own order by doing things in a very specific sequence or needing to have things just so. My son needs very specific doors in our house open and others closed, and he gets very upset when that's not the way it is. Many children can be very sensitive and react strongly to noise, smell, taste or touch. And some people have very strong interests in one particular object or topic, and that's what they want to talk about all the time. People with ASD are all very different. They need very individualised assessment and support, and it's dangerous to assume that one person would have the same profile or need similar supports to another person. People with ASD can range from needing significant help with all day-to-day tasks to those that can work and live independent lives. If you suspect that someone you know might have ASD, it's important that you approach the situation very carefully, because remember, ASD can be a serious lifelong disorder. While a great deal is known about how to minimise the impact of the condition, and some people make so much progress that their differences are negligible, others will have a significant disability. There's a huge amount of conflicting and somewhat dangerous information available from sources such as the internet. Immediate access to really good information can help to ensure that people access appropriate services and start to make progress. It's important that you talk to someone who is knowledgeable about ASD and experienced in sharing this sort of information with people or their families. You need to have considered their possible reaction to that very difficult news and be ready to give them the emotional support they need. Make sure they have access to the right referral and the appropriate agencies that they need to access. Deciding if someone has ASD is complex and requires some assessments and screening tests before deciding whether or not to refer for formal diagnosis. Some people who might appear to have some of those differences might not meet the criteria. For example, they might have difficulties in one or two areas, but not all three. Some people might have another condition, such as a hearing impairment, ADHD, or a serious condition like Fragile X syndrome or Rett syndrome. It's important to continue to support people and their families during this process of assessment and diagnosis. The community page on this website has links to the agencies that provide further information. Remember, finding out about an autistic spectrum disorder is a very difficult thing, but that information is really vital. It will help you understand that person and make sure that person gets the help and support that they really need.